Hey, Jonathan Hardy here. Hope you're doing well today. I want to thank you for tuning in and watching this video. You know, I was at this conference a few months back, and it was one of those conferences that it was actually not a Christian conference, a secular conference that I was a part of. And ironically, through it, the Lord spoke to me. And it was interesting to think how through something like that, how God would still use it to speak. And I felt like God was kind of giving me some ideas and things to do to really dream bigger and think bigger than I've ever thought before. And as Christian leaders, we know that we should do that. I mean, we know spiritually speaking that we should do that. And it was just funny how a conference like that I was a part of actually was what kind of prompted in my own mind and my own heart to dream bigger. And just a couple nights ago, my wife and I were having some conversations about what if or what could be that the Lord might have as it relates to some specific components of the ministry that we're a part of. And so it was just really interesting to have these discussions. And it's prompted me to really begin to think about the capacity of God. We all know that God has unlimited, infinite capacity. And yet, for some reason, at times, we don't dream or think or plan for bigger. And it doesn't matter whether you're a lead pastor of a church, whether you're a staff pastor, or whether you're a key volunteer, or whatever ministry you're a part of, God wants it to be bigger. He wants it to advance. And not always necessarily numerically, although God does want His church to grow and the kingdom to advance. And so for you and for whatever aspect of ministry that you're a part of, I think one of the things that we constantly have to be thinking about, and what I want to encourage you today, is to dream bigger, to think bigger. You know, as my wife and I were talking, it kind of occurred to us that, well, if we don't think or plan or dream for this, then it's not going to happen. So, period. I mean, it will not happen because we're not planning for it. But if we begin to dream, if we begin to think, and if we begin to plan for, well, maybe if this potentially would happen in our ministry, then we're ready. And so whether you lead volunteers, whether you do small groups, whether you're assimilation, whether you're the lead pastor or overseeing the church, administrative, all the different areas of ministry. I know I'm not covering all of them. But whatever it is, you know, where are you at right now? And what could it be like if you were over here? If you went a little bit further, if you had more people? And if you begin to think, if you begin to plan for how to scale that, how to make that work, then God will bring the people. But if you don't plan, if you're just managing what you have, then you're limiting the ability that God might have to bring the people He wants. So we've got to be prepared. We've got to be prepared the people that God wants to bring to your church. You've got to be prepared for the people God wants to have involved in your ministry. And that takes dreaming. That takes planning. That takes just the imagination and the creativity to figure out, well, what could be? So I want to encourage that for you today because God has things He wants to do through you. I believe that you're watching this because God has things He wants to do through your ministry. And it can happen if you dream and if you think bigger, far bigger than you ever thought possible. So I hope that's encouraging for you today. If you're watching this anywhere other than thehardygroup.org, be sure to head over there. We've got other resources for you. We want to equip you as a ministry leader to be all that you can be in advancing the kingdom. Thanks for watching this today. Be blessed.